Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Yes, we're talking all things to do with women for the month of August, and if it's anything to do with me, hopefully for the rest of the year. And in particular, we're talking about and getting into conversation about women in the tech industry and also how motherhood kind of ties into that. And joining us is Jo Eyre, a tech expert and PhD researcher from Voxion Communications. Now, Jo is at the forefront of researching the reboarding process for women returning from maternity leave, a crucial topic, given this fact: 60% of professional women leave their jobs within a year of returning from maternity leave due to a lack of support. So we're going to see how we can help you out with that one. Joining her is Jess Hines, a familiar face on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and a dynamic gamer and tech content creator who's navigating the tech world while balancing motherhood. So we definitely have an example of what we're talking about on the couch today. Ladies, welcome. How are you doing today?
Yeah, fabulous.
What was the decision behind the hair and the top? Because you are so vibrant and it's just up my alley.
It's all about bringing the colour for the morning.
Yes.
You know, it's
Very early, I know.
yeah, we need a bit of energy here.
Well, Jo, let's start with you because I think the work you do is absolutely vital. I think women often think I can either do the one or the other, and we're seeing trends that go about that maybe we're not even the happiest about. So your research on reboarding women after maternity leave in particular, right, has some surprising statistics like that 60% that I brought up a little bit earlier. So can you share more about your findings and what it all actually means in reality?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really just started with me putting my story out there.
Oh, yes, tell me more.
And just telling people that, you know, my experience of going back to work, I love my career. I was so excited to go back. But the person that you leave to go and have a baby is a very different person to the one that you kind of come back with. You go through a big transition.
Yeah.
And so I was super excited to get back. But when I did get back, things had changed. I went from feeling quite competent in my job to having this little human, and I don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of brought that back to work, and then I wasn't very well supported by my employer either. So I shared my story, and I couldn't believe the feedback I got. And I knew I wasn't alone, but it was surprising how many people had experienced something similar. So I put my researcher hat on and decided to get a little bit of data from my network. And some of the things that came back were like about 80% of people didn't feel supported.
Wow.
Only 8% had any real handover when they came back, so proper, clear handover back into the workplace. I think elements of flexibility weren't really put in place, and I'm really sad that we're in a situation where still so many workplaces where you have to be there physically don't have somewhere hygienic and private for people to express milk.
Wow, such a simple thing that's completely overlooked. And what blows my mind is that motherhood is both natural, right? And something that's been happening for so many years. So you would think that in a place that we have to be, which is work, something like that would be included. So we talk about the community being part of your network and support. How can people then translate that into companies? What sort of strategies can companies implement to support women?
So I really believe that we need a kind of a reboarding revolution.
Yeah.
And that might sound really grand, but actually it's quite simple and it doesn't need to be costly. It just needs to be intentional. So it's really about employers just looking at what they can do from a beforehand perspective, but also afterwards as well. So simple things like creating step-by-step programs whereby women that are coming back to work know what they're doing, can feel like they've got a process where they don't have to be up and running on day one, 100%. And sometimes just the small touches, just being told by their manager, welcome back, we know this is a process and we're here to support you.
That goes a long way, I can imagine.
Goes a really long way, yeah.
Well, just let's come over to you. I mean, you are a case study of what we're talking about exactly as well. But I do know that your work maybe offers some flexibility. So let's talk about the balance that you experience from a day-to-day life, juggling motherhood, also being a wife, and then, of course, pursuing content creation full-time. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think one thing I had to learn very early on was what I call like taking it back to the 80s. So at a certain time of day, it was, I'm not answering work calls, I'm not checking my emails, like I'm a mom now, I've got that hat on. And then when she goes to school, I've got my work hat on, same thing on weekends. And that's difficult to do when you start, because you do feel like you always need to be on and you need to wear all the hats at the same time. But I think a lot of times we forget that the whole concept of having to be a mom and a homemaker and an employer or like good at your job is a relatively new thing, and they haven't adjusted the expectations for all of those roles yet. So we just need to be a little bit kinder with ourselves.
Yes, compassion
you know?
goes such a long way, and especially self-compassion too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we need to lead by example with that. Well, let's talk
I
about...
try. I don't always succeed.
That's all right. That's real, and I prefer that. I love that. Can we talk about women in gaming?
Yeah.
I don't know why some people still think that's an oxymoron, like only guys game, right? Talk to me about the barriers that either you face or you know the women around you face within that space in particular.
Yeah, I think there's obviously the normal gaming level where there's a lot of animosity and a lot of we've allowed you into this space, but it's a hobby. It's kind of weird to allow people into a hobby.
Like I didn't need your permission.
Yeah, I bought the game, guys. But I think on a professional level, it is a little bit difficult to get the same work opportunities. Even professional gaming tournaments, a lot of times it's difficult for women to get in there and for there to be an equal sort of thing. And it's not because women are not good at games because they're women. It's because just from playing games, it becomes difficult. And dealing with that, there's a lot of toxicity in gaming. Everyone deals with it. But women have to deal with that same toxicity as well as sexism, as well as misogyny. And a lot of women just drop off because it throws you off your game. You don't want to be there.
Quite literally.
Yeah. So, there are sort of these systemic barriers in place at the moment from those levels. And then just from a professional level, it is difficult to see yourself in a role where you don't see others.
Absolutely.
And there are so few women in tech and in gaming who are really putting themselves out there, so we don't know of them. And I think if you are in tech and gaming as a woman, like, be that role model so that those other little girls can see themselves in you and they then come into that career path as well.
Absolutely. And what a great and poignant way to end off our chat today. Ladies, thank you so much, Joe and Jess. I hope that they will be back again soon, because I'm sure there's so much more that we could have unpacked today, but we just kept it short and sweet. And yes, be that example to the next girl going forward, like our ladies today have really stepped up to the plate and done themselves.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Breakfast show right here on S3, and my lovely, tomorrow is Women's Day. We are celebrating the girl bosses that are girl bossing, okay? Can you see this morning I dressed up for the ladies who are in front of me? I'm talking about two incredible trailblazers who are actually doing the work when it comes to allowing the space of tech to open up for women. First and foremost, we're joined by Marcia Monareng, who is the founder and CEO of Millennial Mindset Media, as well as Millennial Mindset Foundation, and is someone who is allowing lesser communities, unfortunately, to possibly open up when we talk about tech and honestly allow them to be empowered economically, which is incredible. And then we are also joined by Nicole Ramos-Dodd, who is, of course, a powerhouse partner at Red Eye Recruitment, and she goes on to possibly do the absolute most when we talk about how it is that more women can be recruited into tech, and also she has over 10 years experience in doing so. And this morning, we get to celebrate them along with all the other women that they're empowering in the tech space. Let's welcome them, everybody. Hello, gorgeous ladies.
Hi.
Happy Women's Day in advance. Oh, my word.
Happy Women's Day.
Nicole, I want to start with you because, of course, you know about all of the trends in the space of women in tech. And I want to ask you, what are they exactly when we look at where we find ourselves now, as well as what does the landscape actually look like?
Sure. So I do believe that, women have made incredible strides from a technology perspective. Obviously, we are still quite underrepresented from a tech perspective, but I feel like there's a lot of skills development happening and there's a lot of drive towards just building a lot of different initiatives and programs in order to pipeline that future talent. Now, the programs that I'm talking about are, basically where they're focused on upskilling women from software development, digital skills. And funny enough, some of the programs that I actually found out there in South Africa, for example, eSkills for Girls, there's something called Techno Girls, there's African Girls Can Code, and they're really starting to roll out into the African countries. And what they're doing is they're partnering with businesses and organizations and even talent organizations to really design innovative training, to mentor, to upskill, to support, which really basically fast tracks IT careers. And hopefully what it does is, again, it gives them that blend of theory and real world experience, and hopefully giving them that opportunity to get placed permanently in the market, essentially, because that's what we're trying to do. There's that skills gap.
Speaking of that, can I ask you, when it comes from the business side, what can they do to actually retain that raw female talent that is coming in, as well as just allow it to be as effective as possible?
100%. I mean, there's so many elements. There's a couple of things that scream out to me when you're looking to retain female talent. So, I mean, obviously you want to look at things like flexibility. Having an arrangement with your company where you can do the remote work or the hybrid work to really sort of satisfy whatever that lifestyle is that you're currently running at the moment. But also, what we're trying to do is make sure that there's continuous learning and that there is an environment that really fosters value and safety for women, so that there isn't this unconscious bias that's really happening. What we're trying to do is, basically just make sure that there are programs internally within companies that are looking at women in tech. So partnering them with leaders and other female employees so that they can start looking at high potential females and promoting them and advocating for them on high visibility projects.
Love that.
Etc. So we're really trying to make sure that we retain those talents from a female perspective, but we're also continuously attracting them.
Love that.
Very important.
I love it. And you ladies are doing the important work, which is, Marcia, why I want to come to you as an award-winning business owner. Just casual. Speak to us a little bit about, how it is that the role of women in tech is evolving, and particularly in, unfortunately, the less privileged communities.
There's a popular saying that says when you educate a woman, you empower and you uplift the community. And I think we are seeing more women, especially in underserved community, now gain access and thrive in the digital and online space. And it's such a beautiful thing to see, because I think before there's been so many barriers to entry in terms of technology, and now because with social media and with a lot of digital technologies, we're seeing more women and in underserved communities step in. With the work that we're doing at Millennial Mindset Foundation, we're bridging the digital divide, and we're allowing young women especially, to have access to internet, to know also about the opportunities that exist in the digital space. So with the growth in digital education, things like YouTube, TikTok, there's more knowledge and more access to information about how to grow in the digital space.
Beautiful. And also just in terms of talking about, particularly women being in tech, I also know that, like you said, when you empower women, you empower an entire community. So speak to me a little bit about the work that Millennial Mindset Foundation has done in terms of just doing that specific work.
Yeah, so Millennial Mindset Foundation has been there for a year, and it is a baby of Millennial Mindset Media, which is my digital agency, which has been in the game for 3 years. So how Millennial Mindset Foundation came about is that I'm a young girl from the township, and I got the opportunity to know about digital marketing and know about the opportunities that are out there. So I wanted to empower young Marshas from the same township where I grew up. So I went back to my community and I launched the foundation in order to help young girls learn about the opportunities that are out there, you know, because we have a big struggle of unemployment.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, there's so many opportunities that exist in the digital world. And we're seeing now a lot of young girls are building careers just from their cell phones. So the goal is to allow people to have access and knowledge to the opportunities that are in the digital economy.
I love that. I love that. And Nicole, just to wrap things up for us, can you speak to us a little bit just about, you know, AI and how it's being used to really help what we're talking about today?
Yeah, absolutely. So AI basically is benefiting from a recruitment perspective. What we're doing is AI is sifting through thousands of resumes, helping us look and match candidates to job specifications, also saving recruiters time and also avoiding any profile, any candidate to be overlooked in the process. We're also saving a lot of time to hire, so things are being automated, things are moving a lot quicker.
Yeah.
We're looking at being able to take a lot of like data, how would you say, analytics and strategies from AI as well, where they're giving us hiring trends and candidate behavior. So essentially, we still need AI to work in partnership with human judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, humans are the ones that are making the final decisions and going, this is the perfect culture fit for our organization.
Yeah.
But I think AI is really helping a lot of that, you know, that first part of the recruitment process where we're trying to set up interviews and handle queries. I mean, that's
Streamlining.
100%. And that's
Yeah.
being done by chatbots and virtual assistants. So it's creating
Amazing.
an enhanced candidate experience. So again, speeding up the process and allowing recruiters things and coming in right at the end to make those final decisions.
I love that. Ladies, you're incredible. The other day I fixed the remote and I think woman in tech. I'm making my way in, you know what I mean? Ladies, congratulations on everything that you're doing and please continue because the work that you're doing really matters.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm ready for Women's Day and continuing in celebrating Women's Month. We of course are going to be chatting to more incredible women just like these two right here next to me. And of course, Expresso family, you know that throughout this show today, we're going to be getting you ready for the 9th of August tomorrow. For now, though, what's happening up there in Cape Teasy, my beautiful family?